One of the cars that was one of the most popular from the recent Geneva Motor Show was the Volkswagen Arteon. And today we're going to take another in-depth look. We're here in Wolfsburg at the main VW plant. And here in this photo studio, we'll take a look at the exterior, interior, and also talk to product and design experts about the very details of this car. Also tell you more about engines and prices here today. So you can enjoy all that here on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars with Thomas. So let's go with this look on the Volkswagen Arteon in Kurkuma yellow right here today in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. Talking about the design, Tobias Sühlmann, he's the designer of this very car here, of the Volkswagen Arteon, and he will fill us in with the details. And the first question is, of course, everyone is wondering about, what about this additional lip? Is it just design or does it have any other purpose?
The additional lip is design. So what we wanted to have here, we wanted to bring the front of the car as low as possible. So, and what we did is bonnet extension. So what you see here is to bring the bonnet as low as possible and as long as possible, and the whole grille mask as much down as possible. So the headlamps of the car are higher than the grille. So this is the effect. When you see the car from the front, then you see that the grille is lower and the headlamps are higher and the bonnet is long and the whole front is low to the ground.
Would it be possible also to put it in one piece, or would have been not really possible just from a building perspective?
This is also like a crash issue, but what we did here is the thing that this line, what you have in the front, runs around the whole car. If we go around the car, I can show you that you have one line that explains the whole car.
Okay, we'll take a look at that soon. Then to the headlights, you see, we have a very strong front here, definitely, and also aligned lines here around the headlights. Those ones are the optional LED lights, but the basic lights, do they basically look the same, or will the face be changed?
Basically, they look exactly the same. And what we wanted to do is really, you have the integration of the grille into the front lamps. So you have a really wide and really low front end.
Great, let's take a look at the side profile. 4 meters 86 or 16 foot is the total length of the Volkswagen Arteon, and the designers, of course, have thought a special theme for the side profile, because this one here should be the design model, also giving a little difference to the Volkswagen Passat. So what are the main features here in the side profile?
So you have one line that really goes around the whole car, and we can start in the front. This is the part what I showed you before. You have one line that really comes from the front of the bonnet, right above the headlamps, and goes into the side. You can see it's right above the wheel arches, as you can see here. And this is also the bonnet shut line, which is really round and really low, and is surrounding the wheel arches and runs around into the side, into the shoulder line. And when you come with me, then you can see that we have like a really huge shoulder in the back, which also is very strong and shows a lot of sports car DNA. So what you can see in the front is this huge bonnet. When you open the bonnet, you look onto the wheel arches, which is really like a sports car, like a real sports car. When you follow that line into the shoulder line, and then you see our big muscly shoulder in the back, then you really feel it's a powerful and masculine car. And this is what we wanted to show, and that's why this car is so unique. No other Volkswagen has this sporty appeal, what you can see here.
You might also have noticed the Kurkuma yellow color we've also seen in the recent Golf facelift, and also black 20-inch rims. Those ones are optional. Usually you can also pick, like, for example, 17-inch, but then 18-inch comes with the R-Line or the Elegance package. This one here is the Elegance package, so we also got some chrome finish right here, and also at the mirror caps, the side mirror caps. The R-Line would be then the more sportier choice. What's your favorite sport, Elegance or R-Line or base model maybe?
I like both, I have to say. I really like the color combination because this is really close to what you saw 2 years ago in the Geneva show car that we showed. And when you talk about the R-Line, for sure, this is a way more sporty front, because there we have the air intakes, which are way bigger, and the whole car sits a little bit lower, so you have a bit more sporty appealing. But I think the base one looks already so sporty and so elegant that both are like a very good option.
So let's move to the rear. So you can also see the strong shoulder line here from the rear perspective. And then, of course, this is a big difference. The normal Passat sedan is a classic sedan, and then there's the variant, the estate version. This one is something in between, because we have this fastback style here. So why did you exactly go for this style, also with the big hatch, but then the very flat window? What does it do for the viewer?
So the viewer sees a very elegant and very dramatic coupe. So what you can see in the DLO on the side, we have 3 windows. We have a very fast C-post that goes very long into the back of the car, and this dramatic form really gives the length of the car and gives also the elegance. And when you go closer to the rear, then you can see the SBBR, like the rear lamps that surround the whole back and really are strongly moved into the side panel. That means the whole car from the rear gives you a really strong and really wide appealing. Yeah, and so what we did, the whole rear looks really low. What we did, we have one line underneath the headlamps that really makes the car even wider from the back. And it's going into the huge shoulders, and the whole car from the rear is tapering like a real sports car. And this is what we wanted to have. And the good thing about this car is you have the appealing of a 4-door coupe, but because of the wheelbase, you have a long, huge car. And typical Volkswagen is when you open the trunk, you have a lot of space to load everything you need in there.
The taillights, by the way, LED from standard equipment, and what is always very interesting, maybe we can talk about fake exhaust, because first of all, we got the 280 horsepower TFSI 2-liter in here, and see we have 4 exhaust pipes, so 2 each side, but you know the very outer part is so-called fake again, or just for design purposes. And there were a lot of discussions and people asking about why do manufacturers do that nowadays, not show the real exhaust but put this one here at the outside. So what's your take on that?
So as you can see here, what we have here is the bigger engine. So these ones are not fake. You can really see that.
But the very outer part, you mean, this is not really.
Part, yes. So what we wanted to have is also like something that is really integrating into the design. So what we have here, we have the pipes that really fit with the whole balance of the car. Yeah, and so you can see that, for example, this part here really is integrated into the bumper part, and that also gives like a clean, appealing of this car. Yeah.
In talking about the strategy and the engines of this vehicle, we are now joined by Andreas Peplo. He is the project leader for the mid-size cars at Volkswagen, also responsible for this very vehicle. So first of all, I want to know about the strategy in general. Why is it not just a CC anymore? Why did you pick a separate name, and what's your total goal now? What do you want to do with this car?
Because yes, why it's not a CC or something like this? Because it's not. It's bigger than the CC, and it's a part of the MQB family. So we took there all of the parts from the MQB, and we tried to build up a very new car with more space inside, with more space for the customer at all, and very a very nice design, and a lot of functions you will see in a short moment, yes.
About the engines, this one here at the moment, the top petrol engine, 280 horsepower, combined with all-wheel drive 2-liter turbo petrol engine. This one, of course, will probably deliver the most fun. Then there will also be the 2-liter TDI, for example, with 240 horsepower. But you are also planning on delivering entry engines, for example, the new 1.5-liter Evo that we've seen in Golf facelift with 150 horsepower. Will this especially play a role for fleet customers, also concerning the total cost of ownership?
Yeah, so we thought about this, and we think that we will offer with this car one of the best-in-class total ownership cars from our side in that range, and it will be very attractive for all fleet customers to have such a car, because at the moment we think we are the best in class.
About the total cost of ownership, that is the monthly cost, the total cost for owning the vehicle, including insurance and also possible spare parts at some point, also service and so on. And due to the calculations they did, it seems to be that they are very low in this segment if you compare it. Total prices, by the way, start at 35,000 euros in Germany, and then this one about 50,000 euros here with the bigger engine. And this will be, I think, something 2,000, 3,000 euros less than, for example, Audi A5. What are the main competitors for you?
So our main competitors at all are the BMW Grand Coupe, this one, and also in the range the Mercedes E-Class. And we think we are a good choice and a very interesting choice for all those people who like to have a little bit of understatement, and also who wants to have the best combination between rationality and economical interestings. And these are our competitors, and our goals.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, I also thought, for example, Audi A5, for example, but obviously Volkswagen is thinking even bigger. And this really could have been something with understatement, because if you want to keep the cost down also as for fleet, for example, you think about ordering 100 E-Class or 100 of this one. Of course, it's always the question if you can really compare it, but of course we've also shown you different aspects about the luxury features. So let's see how it plays out. From design-wise, I think it will already work. Also got a lot of good feedback here on Autogefühl on this vehicle here. Maybe which engine would you pick? Would you maybe go all the way, or would you rather go with the economic choice?
I would like to drive the big one, the big block here, and with 280 horsepower, I like those powerful cars.
So that's the all-wheel drive choice, but then again, for the fleet customers, the 1.5-liter Evo would be a good solution. We tested that one in the Golf facelift already, and especially with the sailing function, with cylinder on-demand functions, that worked pretty well as for the consumption. Let's take a look at the interior, door handles and solid door closing sound. You can see here, like with the coupe or convertible, the windows go up and down because there's no frame around it, and they also call it daylight opening, for example. Here you can see you got also wood finishes, and the plastic that is used on the inside has also a soft touch. Also here, the build quality of all the buttons is really at a very high level. This one here is also then based like a B8 Passat, so very interesting for the US viewers, because with this car, they for the first time get the B8 Passat, the current Passat, just in the form of the Arteon with some more features. Those ones here are the optional animal skin seats. Usually you start with a base trim, at least in Germany and a lot of European markets, with fabric seats. So we would tend to go for those ones. In the Elegance or the R line from Standard, then you get microfiber on the inside and animal skin on the outside. which is not really necessary. You could also have it had in leatherette, but they did not think so far yet. But we've told them. Then also in the front, you can see that this is the B8 Passat interior. Basically, you also get optionally the virtual cockpit. Well, it's called that way at Audi, active info display at Volkswagen. You do not have to get it. You also can remain just with the analog gauges. Those ones here offer you more flexibility. You can set, for example, also GPS inside and so on. You can see it here when it turns off, then there's nothing to see. But overall, I mean, from the build quality and from the style, very clean and elegant interior for sure. And let's get inside, because this vehicle, as we've also heard from Volkswagen, should also compete with higher segments even. Not only, mid-size car, electric seats here, I can also go even lower. And yeah, basically you feel pretty much similar like in the Passat. Here the A-pillar is maybe a little bit flatter here, only if you go to the side. But if you inside here, my model is 86 or 6'1", there's still some headroom left. Also, there's this panoramic roof. So if you want to have more headroom, especially in the rear, then leave out the panoramic roof. Of course, it's always an attractive option if you're not in a very hot climate. Also, you can adjust the steering wheel. It's always a good sign if you can do it with one hand also. So you can really adjust your position right here. There it goes, and manual. And well, the seats, those ones are the so-called ergo comfort seats. They are optional, and but also the basic seats will offer you enough comfort. So it's really a very spacious feeling here for a mid-size segment car. And yeah, I could actually imagine maybe taking it as a replacement also for the upper mid-size segment, at least for the space that is available here. Now to the cockpit overview, the very elegant horizontal line here with the air vents, for example. Well, the analog clock, some like it, some say, it's just put there to say, we just have an analog clock, let's put it in there. I mean, why not? Then we got a dark wood trim in here that looks pretty fancy. Also here the materials are soft and plastic. Standard glove box, enough space right there. Then it starts with a 6.5-inch screen from a standard trim, but you can also go for the bigger one here, 9.2. That's the one that we know from the Golf facelift. See here the Elegance trim also gets a special sign. Also the DIN audio sound optionally available. We had that one in the Tiguan, for example, and that one did a really good job there. The 9.2 is really seamlessly integrated in the whole cockpit layout. That is the advantage. You don't have any buttons left. Design-wise, that's great, but some prefer to have buttons like standard on the AC unit. The steering wheel also in an elegant trim. With the R-Line, you also get the R-Line steering wheel with the R-Line button here. Then all-wheel drive 4Motion with the DSG shifting lever. The entry-level engines will also receive a manual gearbox. The screen has a great resolution. You can also go to the map, have it really big. We're in Wolfsburg at the Volkswagen plant here today. You see great reaction times. They've worked on that. And then you also have a main menu with app view. You can connect your phone via Bluetooth normally, or also with the app Connect with Apple CarPlay and stuff via a cable. So that's possible, or have your photos mounted for your pet or for your wife or for your husband. And here, by the way, the car has a weak battery because it's been running as a choker here for quite long, therefore it's turning off now, but it's good to see that it's really seamlessly integrated again with the rest of the cockpit. Active info display, you can see it right here. You can have different setups, how you want to have it, and also switch around some functions. Here again, the battery is a little bit low, but that's no problem to us here. And interesting also when you shut it off, for example, then you have those nice visualizations. Hey, a small Arteon, isn't it cute? The sunroof, you can use this shade here, for example, and I think it's good that you just do it manually because you can also over-engineer a car, and you can basically also open it when we turn on the ignition again. Here we go. And there it is, and you can leave some more light in the interior right there. Armrest, properly attached here, always a good sign for build quality. Then you have another USB port right there. And in the front you have 12-volt power supply and also adaptive beverage holders. So everything pretty functional, electric handbrake with auto hold function. So that saves space here and also is a comfort feature, although I really like a manual handbrake, rally stuff and so. My favorite feature is the heated steering wheel. I love that in winter times. And for motion orbiter, also good for winter times. And when you slide that open, you can put the smartphone right here to have it connected to the car antenna. And there's also another USB supply. Now what about the rear? This will be very interesting. And the funny thing is here, you feel like being in a Škoda Superb. And there's so much legroom left. That is really amazing. And so this can not only be an emotional choice, but really also a reasonable or emotional choice. For example, also for your family, for example, because sometimes you have to think about, do I get a car I want or do I get the car I need? For example, family, children, space, stuff, and so. And with this one, you probably can combine both. Also, headroom-wise, the ceiling raises again. So I think 1.90 m or 6'2" would be the maximum for the rear. But for a sporty car, for a fastback, that's still a good result. So the package is also very well done. As I said, I can really compare to a Škoda Superb. And the Superb has the same concept also with this fastback hatch that you can, even in the sedan version, have a very versatile one. So you can also flip down beverage holders here with the armrest. Also can use it here as a ski hatch, and then you can load things through. You can have ISOFIX child seats on both outer seats, and you can also flip the whole bench from here in a 2/3, 1/3 split. So that's possible at least from here. And also optional, you can have the 3-zone AC to control the rear seats, also with seat heating in the rear, but that's again optional. And here we go. Here's the seat heating on both sides. And below that, there's another function, because you can also have a real power plug right in there. And the only thing is, if you want to plug a MacBook there, for example, it can be a little bit tight. I really like, by the way, that we have those single letters here. That looks really classy. Then we can flip the VW logo to open the hatch. And this is really the key of this car. It has a attractive design on the outside, but still so much space here in the rear. And this could really be a good compromise between the variant, the Estate, and also the sedan. So this is something in between then. And for example, as I said, as with the Škoda Superb sedan. Here you can have also replacement tire, for example. Also the DIN audio system. Then you see very well usable here. Here's some hangers for some bags, for example. And the only thing you have not, as in a variant or Estate, you cannot flip the seats from here. You have to do it from the inside. And you have here the top tethers, by the way. That's also important for child seat fixation. But here again, only if you put a bicycle maybe in here with the handlebars, that could be a problem. Other than that, really very well usable. And then the child safety test for the torque of the hatch. That's better than, for example, in the Tiguan or in the Passat variant. And I think it has to do, they will probably use the same Newton meter of torque from the power. But here, this hatch, as it goes a little bit, is not, in a different angle than with the Tiguan that's opening like this, For example, so is it like this? Maybe it has something to do with that it has a better result in our Autogefühl child safety test then. And now to our today's conclusion, Volkswagen Arteon. So what was the most interesting thing to me, that before I thought, maybe they just want to get some customers from the Audi A5, something like that in this region. But obviously they're also trying to aim to get BMW 5 Series or Mercedes E-Class customers. It will be very interesting if this will work. Obviously the design choice is really an emotional one, and I think that could work from a design perspective. We got also a lot of great feedback on Autogefühl that people really like this car design-wise. By the way, just one detail, because we had this remark about the alloys you have maybe seen, they are a little bit different because they are always the same from the one piece, and so they look to the other opposite direction on each side of the car. But hardly any manufacturer will manufacture 2 single alloys per each side. So very interesting detail there, of course, and it shows how much are you paying attention to our videos, of course. Then interior-wise, it's a great build quality and a clean and elegant design, especially important as American customers will then first time get the all-new generation of the Passat, the base model, the B8 Passat, in the form of the Arteon for their market. This car will be marketed worldwide. We'll be starting in Europe first and going to the Asian markets, for example, and then also to 18 to the US. So this is really a car that can be bought anywhere, and so also even more important for us because we, of course, on Autogefühl have viewers from all over the world. As for the choices we have in the interior, we told you something about the base trims and also the optional ones here with the new infotainment system that was recently updated with a seamless integrated design. What is missing is actually absolutely sustainable materials on the seat surfaces, also in the higher trim level versions. They have to make up for that, for example, with more updates later on. Engine choices seem to be basically, and as for the conservative choices, pretty okay, especially with the 1.5 liter Evo. I would really recommend, especially for fleet customers, to keep the costs down, and this engine already worked pretty well in the Golf. And this is also not a too heavy car, especially if you equip it with a manual transmission and don't go for the biggest engines. Well, there's no 6-cylinder in here. That might be a reason for some customers not to go down from the upper mid-size segment. But then again, also Volvo is only using 4-cylinder engines anymore, and some might even not care about it. So, and most important will be your feedback, what you think about the exterior and the interior of this car, and could you also imagine going here to this one, to Volkswagen, maybe from an Audi, from a BMW, maybe even from a Mercedes. We really look forward to that on the feedback, so we can also have good estimation of how this car will perform on the market. Thank you very much for watching Autogefühl this time, and of course we'll see us with this very car when we drive it.